I'm Lucian Morfa, and I can't wait to be the script supervisor for Guillermo del Toro. It'll happen. It'll happen one day.
Okay, we're doing intro.
Okay,
this is Indie Films.
It's starting, so
It's starting.
keep going. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, this is Indie Not Films, and Haven't Made It Yet is the show title.
That's it.
You think we'd be better?
This is Hayden. I'm Yannick, and I'm here with Hayden. And Hayden, unscripted question: how did you find Luci? Morfa.
So Lucy, my PA.
Morfa. Lucy Morfa, your PA, not just any Lucy. Lucy Morfa.
Okay. I found Lucy. It was actually a recommendation from my worst enemy now on the show. Someone from production. I'll leave it at that. Okay. But at the time, she was very helpful, and I was like, "Hey, I'm looking for a PA," and I was like, "Oh, I know this great person I worked with on. I think you two worked on a Netflix show, right? Was that?"
Yep.
It was reality TV. What show was that?
It was. It's called 20 Somethings on Netflix.
Yeah, and she was like, "Oh, she's a great PA." I asked her if she wanted to do production on this show, and you said you were not about it. You didn't want to be a PA on the show.
Not at that rate.
But she was like, she might be interested in being an art PA though, so you should give her a call. So I gave you a call, and I remember I think I was at a Home Depot when it was happening when you called me.
Which aisle?
And I was I want to say PVC pipes.
16.
16, yeah. She called me from a voicemail I left. I was like, great, doesn't sound like a crazy person. We'll go from there. And what I did like, though, because in our conversation you said you were a scripty, I knew something that I really struggle on is continuity. Like I'm really good, and you've helped me time and time again. I tend to just throw things on because I want to get things going. That's my thing, and I want to be on time and do what's expected of me. So the whole attention of detail thing, that can come into play when I have time. On the show, we had no time. We never had time. So I think we worked really well together from me just okay, we have 15 minutes to do this set, go. And I would throw things out, and then you would be like, oh no, this should be like this should look like this, because that's how it looked like on the last setup. And I was like, great, I forgot, I don't care. we need this done. But I think we worked really well with that balance.
We've already seen this blanket. We saw this blanket last episode. Get this blanket out of here. Bring in another one.
Oh God, I have the same blanket in every setup.
We have how many blankets? We have 12 blankets.
I mean, I do 2, but there's 3 good ones.
Yeah, on camera blankets. Yeah.
Hayden ruined 2 blankets.
One. I ruined one blanket, and the women ruined the other.
Okay.
Women.
Classic.
What are you gonna say like that, huh? Making it for me is just being financially stable and have a good steady amount of jobs, and just happy with that. That's making it for me.
How's that going at the moment?
At the moment, I have steady jobs. Who knows how that's gonna look once we come back from winter break and stuff like that, because it goes up and down. So who knows?
Yeah. Explain a little bit to the listeners what you do, and as well as Yannick. He's very new at this whole film thing.
So most of the time I'm a script supervisor, which means I'm in charge of making sure that the movie looks like it's filmed in order, because movies are not filmed in order, and I make it look like it was, and make sure you don't notice that there's a boom in the shot, or there's a flag or something. That's my job, and make sure the actors remember their lines.
Could you explain a little bit day in a life? I think that this is an interesting niche of a job, because a lot of people, when they think of film, they think of camera, they think of acting, but they don't think of the person that actually gets the shit together, which is the script supervisor. Like, if you ask a question to anybody, you always ask the scripty because they have their shit together. And if they don't, then the film's ruined.
Oh my God. Okay. Let me see. A normal day for me would mean I show up to set around like general call time, like everybody else. And I kind of just like set up wherever Video Village is, which is where all like the monitors are. So like where the director sits, because I sit right next to the director. And I sit there, and my day starts with everybody coming up to me and already asking me, "What scene are we doing? Do you know what day it is in the shoot, in like the shoot schedule? Like what day is it? What props do we need? If we shot already the day? Do you remember what the ISO, the camera was, whatever? And I have to know all that. I'm the note taker. Every single little detail I have to know it. I cannot ever answer a question with I don't know. I have to have the answers. It's nerve-wracking. It's awful. Because everybody comes up to you wanting to be like, so do you know this, and that? And I'll be like, I absolutely have to. Yes, I do.
Mm-hmm. What got you in? Yeah, what got you into wanting to do this aspect of film?
I realized I have a really good attention to detail, which is something that you absolutely need.
Which we all have on our resumes, of course.
As they're written on their resume. But like this is one of those jobs where like if you are lying about it, it will be noticeable. You cannot lie about it's like, oh yeah, I have a really good attention for detail. Where people will be like, oh, your job must be really easy. You just sit there and you take notes all day. And I'm like, no. I have to literally have like 3 million eyes.
And now you're working with Hayden. This is kind of the partner episode of the PA on my farm that we already recorded. And so it's kind of a mirror of that. We can get into the work stuff in a little bit, but being Hayden's assistant, what would you say are his personal shortcomings?
His personal shortcomings? Oh, God. I don't think I...
No attention to detail.
Jaden has terrible attention to detail. Hunter didn't like any of his design ideas. He liked all of mine. So I think that says a lot about my set dressing versus his. The executive producer showed up to set. He thought I was the set dresser, not Hayden.
Okay, talk about that. Share that a little story.
So we were like setting up for one of like the dinner like dates. We finished setting up the table, whatever, and then Hayden's like standing right next to like the producers and like everybody like really close, like right on set. I was off in the like back. I was talking to social. The executive producer who's like right next to Hayden turns to me, goes like, "Oh, Lucy," and I'm like, "What? Me? What for?" "Yeah, talking about moving something for the set."
Well, he asked you some like artistic. Yeah, he wanted an art opinion.
And I was like, "Me? Hayden's right next to you." And he asked me, and I was like,
"Well, you did it. You looked at me, and I was like, listen to him. What does he want?" He's asking you.
That art producer who's standing right there as well just went with it. And we all went with it. We're all like, "Yeah, Lucy's in charge," and and I'm like, "Okay."
And she has been. She's been in charge ever since.
Hayden's been working from home, right?
Oh, yeah.
Doing receipts.
The credits are going to switch.
I feel like doing receipts is like the new, I don't know, you know what I'm saying? I had a similar moment with my producer, showrunner, exec guy, where I thought I was setting up this table, waiting for the DP to come in to like tell me where exactly to put it for the cameras, and this random dude comes in and he starts like moving around and like talking shop, like maybe like if we put it here. And I'm like, "I'm sorry, like, what department are you? Are you like grip? I'm just trying to see like which angle you're coming at this from." And he's like, "I'm the executive producer. Like I run this show." And I was like, "All right."
"Who are you?"
Yeah.
"Get out of my set."
Yeah. Don't touch my table. Yeah.
But everything else has been great. She has nothing but good things to say about working with me. And we're moving on.
And we're moving on.
Wait. Come on, one thing that Hayden could improve.
What? Oh my God, I don't know. Don't put me in the spot like this.
Yeah, she still has to work for me for another 3 or 4 days.
Still have to work for Hayden for the next like...
Accidentally not pick her up.
We're in the exact same hotel.
Just do a compliment sandwich. Come on.
No,
Yeah, I'm
he's
good with
great.
that.
He's good. He's good at the artistic detail to things.
Good. Now put the bad meat inside.
But oh god,
There we
I
go.
don't know. I'm really bad at like bringing someone down.
You don't have to bring him down. You just have to improve him.
It sounds like you don't have enough attention to detail.
Hayden, no.
You know what? I've heard that way too often. It's a second language for me.
That's a terrible design choice. Those colors don't go together.
Damn, that bad, huh?
Hayden's colorblind.
Oh my god, Hayden, that's your only job is to know what colors go together.
No.
Yes. You can't just say no. Yes, Aiden. All right. Well, here's my task for you. In these final days, come up with something.
I'll come up with something.
Send them on the way with something juicy.
Oh yeah, when your last goodbyes.
If I ask goodbye, we'll be saying goodbye, and I'm like, "You're a terrible interior designer," and then he'll just leave with that.
I know that.
Make sure that time card is submitted, and then lay into him.
I don't know why I have this job. Can I say this on the podcast?
I mean, the show's about to end. You could literally say it. It's fine.
I don't know why I have this. I think I'm good at it, and people tell me I'm good at it.
I want to have that as like my ringtone or like message tone for you.
I don't know why I have this job.
Oh man, are we done talking about me? Can we go on to talk about the
let me
the
check my
actual
notes.
person? Oh.
Oh, what is it like working with Hayden? I guess you could just talk about what it's like working as an art assistant, especially since that's not what you usually do.
Art is not what I usually do, but every single time I've done like any PA production assistant job, I always end up in art, or I end up helping art, and I'll like be drawing on walls or like making flower arrangements. Or there's always something. I'll be making props.
And you came into film because of your like artistic background.
I kind of just went into film just because I loved movies growing up. I loved watching movies, and then I was like, I want to make movies. I didn't know what I wanted to do. And it's just I had a really good attention to detail, so I ended up being a scripty, and then. Even then, when I would still do PA gigs, I would end up in art department. And I was like, I've been doing art since I was like 6. I have all these years of art experience. I might as well put them to use.
Tell us a little bit about the journey coming into film. I love asking like if there was an aha moment or something of like, oh, this is the thing I want to do. Was there anything like that to you? You said you went to college for a little bit for pursuing film. Maybe talk about that a bit.
I grew up watching movies with my dad. It was me and my dad's thing. My mom's not a big movie person, but my dad and I are very big into movies. So we used to watch movies all the time, and I've always loved watching movies. And then in high school, when everybody starts having that moment where they're like, I want to do this with my life, I want to do that with my life, and I was like, I don't know what I want to do. And then I was like, oh, I really like movies. I'll work in movies, and that was just like. It happened sophomore or junior year where I was like, I'm gonna work in the film industry. I'm gonna work my way up there.
And this was in Miami, correct?
I lived in Miami at the time, yeah.
Yeah.
Are you just like super excited to just be in the film industry and are just content with that? Or are you like, you said you want to move up? Does that mean you want to go towards something?
I want to become like a really good script supervisor. I want to become a really good script supervisor. Like, I'm content with like my position. There's like, I know some people that they aspire to work all the way up to the top. They want to be director and giant big producers for all these like crazy ass movies. And I don't like. I'm fine if I direct something someday. That's cool, but it's not something that I'm like actively like going after.
That's interesting. Most people are just like you said, are just like, I want want to go all the way. I want to do this. Never content. But that's a new take. I mean, not new. Like there's a lot of people like that, but I think that's interesting.
It's nice to be into something that you already know this is what I want to be doing in the future. So you're just going to steadily progress into being the best at that something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I can't say the same for that. Like, I mean, now I'm in the art world. I've had 4 years of camera experience and then like a little bit of like office production experience kind of sprinkled into that. And so like I'm kind of a little bit jack of all trades with a lot of things, but I don't really feel like I'm amazing at a thing. It's cool hearing stories of like people that are sticking to it and sticking to that one thing, being the best at ...
I think that might be almost the script supervisor thing. A lot of script supervisors that I've talked to have been doing it for like ever, and they're really good and they know exactly, you know, when to pay attention, when to tune in. That like having 1,000 eyes thing. So I think that's just maybe part of that niche.
So going to high school in Miami, knowing that you wanted to do film, you now do film in Atlanta, Georgia. Was that just because it was close by, or is there kind of like a specific reason why you chose Atlanta?
There's like a bit of like a history to like everything. So I finished high school, but I'm an immigrant. I have immigrant parents. So having immigrant parents, their thing is always like, go to college. It doesn't matter what you do, just get a college degree. And my mom was adamant that she wouldn't let me move away from home if I didn't have if I wasn't actively gonna go to school or something like that. So she's like, you're not leaving until you do like a college degree. And I'm like, okay. So I enrolled to community college because I'm not that smart, but I'm a little smart. So I got to community college. They had a decent film program. It's actually not that bad for community college. It was pretty good. I did 2 semesters, and all my professors were like, you don't need to be here to work in the film industry. And I'm like, I'm wasting money. So I dropped out. And from there, I moved to Austin with my partner. We lived there 5 years. I did quite a bit of like film stuff out there, but after COVID and just Texas, it like all kind of really slowed down. And I was like, oh, I think I should move to Atlanta. It's closer to home. I'll be closer to my parents and all my family. And there's a lot more work out there. So I moved to Atlanta this year. Yes.
And how has that change been from, I mean, you already have a huge experience in city life with Miami. How is it being in Atlanta now?
It's a lot closer to living in Miami than it is to living in Austin. Austin is very like chill, like it's very chill vibes. Like nobody really causes trouble. It's all very like mellow. Meanwhile, Miami, it's very much like you have to be, you know, wearing like the current style. You always have to be dressed nice. You can't like leave the house looking like in sweatpants and pajamas. It's like unacceptable. You always have to have the best phone, best cars. Like that's the lifestyle of Miami. And Atlanta's kind of like a mixture of the both. At least like where I live. Like you see like a couple of like bougie people, but you also see people who are very chill and mellow. So I kind of like that. Got like a little bit of both.
So have you done reality TV before, or is this your first one that you're working on with Hayden?
So in Austin, pretty much everything is reality or commercials. So I've literally mostly done reality TV up until
Okay.
I did a feature like last year, but basically everything on my resume for the past couple of years has all been like reality or commercials.
Explain a little bit with you've never been to like Los Angeles or New York in that kind of industry. Do you know where Atlanta differs compared to like the huge industries? Is it considered just as huge as the other ones?
I would consider it pretty huge, but I wouldn't consider it as big as like LA or New York. But Atlanta is pretty big because it's consistent work like year round. Like there's constantly projects, like just constant throughout the entire city. You like it doesn't matter where you go around a corner, there's signs because they're filming something. A very big thing for finding jobs pretty much anywhere that I've ever lived in has been either Staff Me Up, great website. Some people don't have like good luck like getting work there. I have great luck getting work on Staff Me Up. And Facebook groups. like so many Facebook groups. I have like 20 Facebook groups that are all like film related, either in the US or just like Atlanta or Georgia. And that's probably the best way to get work. And then the best way to get work is by having like group chats with people. Most of the time, like you kind of the group chats are most of the time it's people that you work with quite often. Like you work with them a couple of times, you see that they're really good at their jobs, and you just keep like seeing each other, and you know that they're good and you're good at your job, so you kind of stick together. So you start making group chats, and then group chats kind of evolve, and then they keep adding more people, and it kind of becomes like this little circle because it's easier for us to get each other jobs when we're all like in one place that we could all just talk about it. So it's the best way to get jobs. People will be like, "Hey, we're shooting a movie. We start this day. We need G&E. We need a camera team. We need this. We need 2 people for art. Whatever, whatever." And they'll all like be like, "Yeah, for sure, I'm available. Whatever, whatever." Or like, oh, they'll recommend someone because you trust them because you know that they do good work. So they're not gonna recommend you someone shitty.
Is that how you got your first job, through Facebook, when you first left your school?
My first job was a music video in Miami. I was going to school at the time, and I was working part-time at a Levi's store in Miami. And this guy walked in, and he was buying jeans, and I don't know, he was talking about something, and we got into the topic of film, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I own a production company. We're actually shooting this music video." And I'm like, "Oh my god, that's so cool. Like, I'm studying film." And he's like, "Oh, do you want to come help out? Like, it'll just be for like 2 days, but like, if you want to come, I could teach you a couple of things." And I'm like, "Oh, for sure." And that was my first job. My first job was this tiny little music video. The crew was only like 6, 7 people, but yeah, that was my first ever like film job. It was just I happened to meet this guy, and then I joined like every single Facebook group, and then that's where I started getting a lot of more jobs. And then someone from one of my other, like later on, like a year later, someone told me about Staff Me Up, and I'm like, "Oh, let me sign up for it." And then I started getting a lot more jobs.
Staff Me Up, from my experience, isn't a thing in LA at all.
It's a big thing. Like, I feel like everywhere else that has like smaller like film industries, it's a very big thing.
Yeah, in Oklahoma it's big. But I was that random guy the other day, because I was at the rock gym and I found a film student as well. And I was like, "Oh, I got to get this guy on here at some point." And for like weeks, this was kind of during the beginning of our stay in Oklahoma here. And for weeks there was like, no opportunity to get anybody else in. And then finally towards the end here, there was a week where I could have snuck him in, and I was like, "Are you available?" And he's like, "No." It's like, damn it. Because I just remember being in college and wanting something like that to happen so bad. Like I would like, one time I ran into a random screenwriter dude in a coffee shop, because I saw on his computer that he was screenwriting, and I was like, "Oh, I gotta chat this guy up." Chatted him up, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I can give you like notes on your script." And I was like, "Awesome, like let's do it right now." And he looked at the script that I was writing. He's like, "You you gotta like read like a book or something. Like you gotta start like from the like." He was like he's a little speechless. So it was so good. He didn't know what to say. And then he was like, "Yeah, like I gotta get my bike repaired. Like, do you want to like come with?" I was like, "All right,
Works every
like,
time.
I'll go repair this bike." And so we went to this bike shop, and like there was like no bike, or like he was like shopping or whatever. And then he was like, "I'm gonna go swimming. Like, do you want to come swimming?" And I was like, and then I was like, it's like, "All right, I'm gonna call it on this one. See you later, Jay."
Oh my god.
So I was always looking for like that random person that you found.
It's difficult though. Like it's, I mean, and it comes from like, I don't know where I heard this. I probably heard it from my dad, but I'll give my dad credit. He always says like, have your elevator pitch ready, for these specific moments. And that's why, like, I mean, Lucy, you and I have had this conversation before of like, there's some PAs that are so excited about being into film, and when someone asks them like, "Oh, what do you want to do?" they're just so excited. They're like, "Oh, I'm just excited to be here. I just want to be a part of the industry. I want to do it all." And that's not the right answer. Like you need to have you don't have to know exactly what you want to do, but you need to at least have a little bit of an understanding of like, oh yeah, I want to like work into camera, or I want to go into art. I like lighting. Just something to tell them, and having that elevator pitch ready of like, yes, I would love to be an electric in a shoot one day. That gets you places, because you would never know what that conversation with that one person leads in a year's time. It might go nowhere, but it might get you just exactly what you're looking for.
Yeah, I mean, PAing is kind of the opportunity to try it all, unless you're one of the few that actually want to be an AD. Ugh.
We
But,
love ADs.
Yeah, we
Some
love them.
ADs. I love some ADs.
Doing the Lord's
That's why
work.
we do reality TV, because apparently
There are none.
there are none. Love them.
I think that might be unique to our show.
Really?
At least I
Why?
didn't have an AD.
I didn't have an AD either.
Apparently there is one. I was like, what does he do? Nobody could answer. or nobody knew where he was.
I think there's an AD at the mixers. I think it's only for like when there's like a big enough crew where they kind of consider it essential.
He's probably doing receipts
Yeah.
somewhere.
He's been doing receipts years ago.
The poor guy. He's just like in a little closet somewhere, just struggling through receipts somewhere, dying.
So you're just now getting some pretty consistent work in Atlanta. Is there any kind of tips and tricks you can give a up and coming PA in Atlanta, or maybe like PA anywhere, of like things that have worked out for you in these last couple years?
The one thing I would recommend is definitely join all of the film crew Facebook groups that are like local to you. Join them. And I know this is bad to say. Don't ever take like shit pay, but in the beginning, take the shit pay. Because it's literally, it doesn't matter how little you're getting paid. It matters who you're going to be able to talk to once you're on there. Because once you're on there, you could talk to people and you could be like, hey, I want to learn how to do this or want to learn how to do that. Because that's what matters. If you don't talk to people, you're not going to make it. You're not going to make it anywhere. Because there's so many jobs I've gotten where people have just texted me. They're like, hey, we did this show like 3 months ago. Are you available? Happens all the time.
You kind of got to be an extrovert, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I'm sorry to all my introverts, but you cannot be an introvert in this industry. You have to talk to people. And you can't be afraid to put your foot down about things, because you will get walked all over.
Yeah.
Like I was with Hayden yesterday.
Hayden, no.
She put her foot down too.
But no, I was talking to I was with Hayden, and then someone texted me. I have no idea who she was, but she was a production coordinator for some movie that someone that I had worked with recommended me to be a script supervisor. And I'm like, okay, cool. What's the rate? How long is it? And the rate was fairly low for my position. And I'm like, okay, can we do a little bit more? Because you're getting me based off a really good recommendation. Like, I already know these people, so I know how they work. Like, you're going to get good results out of me. If you give me a bit more, I will happily do the job. And they wouldn't move. And I'm like, okay, well, then I'm not going to do the job, because I know what my worth is.
Yeah, and that's huge. That is huge, because they will, if you don't put a price on you, they'll put a price on you, and it's definitely going to be way lower than you're actually worth.
When that came up, you kind of negotiated a little bit. Do you have any advice in terms of doing that? I know that can be super scary.
Terrifying, because you're like scared. You're like, damn, I just missed out on like a really good job or something. Happens all the time. In the beginning, you don't really have like a foot to stand on. But once you kind of like make your circle of friends, and especially like people are recommending you because they know you're good at your job, and they're telling these people that don't know you that you're good at your job, you're able to have a little bit more wiggle room of being like, hey, I know what I'm worth, and I'm worth a little bit more than this because I'm good at my job. And people are telling you that I'm good at my job. So you know I'm not lying to you that I'm going to do a shit job.
So the recommendation might be your strongest point of leverage.
It's always your strongest thing. It's just to have a really good recommendation from someone.
What about the resume? Do you think that plays into that at all, or do people not care about resumes?
The resume always comes second to a recommendation. People will always hire based off a recommendation first, and they'll hire based off a resume second. Because you will trust someone's word of mouth a lot quicker than you will trust someone's resume. Because people lie on their resumes all the time. They're like, yeah, I did 3 feature films last year.
Attention to detail, right? Yeah.
My name's Hayden.
I shouldn't have this job.
It's like, I did 3 feature films for Disney last year. Yeah, for sure.
No one even glimpsed at my resume for this job.
What about Mike did look at mine the first time she hired me.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. But then once again, I recommended you, so she had my recommendation and suddenly didn't care about her resume anymore. So point in case. Yeah. What about references on resumes? Has anybody ever called somebody else you knew?
Not really. I've never really had like a reference for like anything.
It's usually too last moment and stressful for the people hiring. They probably,
It's either like the day before production starts or like the week before production starts. They're scrambling to gather crew. They don't even care. They're just like, you could do the job? Yeah? Okay, great.
You have 2 hands?
Which kind of leads into the next thing, perhaps, which is work-life balance. I know my PA, this was her first big job. It's definitely an adjustment with schedules just changing all the time. She got into a couple of really unfortunate situations where she had booked other gigs and then the schedule moved around and she had to like unbook those gigs. Theoretically, we ended up working it out. Work-life balance. What's your experience with that, managing that?
It's normally like once we wrap, everybody's still like wrapping up lights and whatever and props and whatever. Like I'll just be sitting at my desk, like finishing up my notes. So, and then I'll leave like in an hour, like after like wrap time. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go home. But a work-life balance in this industry doesn't exist. Like I have wanted a dog for years. I have wanted to have a dog, but my dog will never see the light of day because I'm never home. I'm currently and I haven't been to my house since like Saturday or Sunday. Like I'm not gonna see this dog.
So you're saying you have a dog locked into your house that's just never going to see the light of day?
This poor dog will never get walks. He'll be half fed. I feel bad for this imaginary dog.
So what do you do then to survive long term? Do you take a long vacation every once in a while, or do you just not survive?
I'll do a week or
Always
two.
work.
Yeah, I'm always working. I'll do a week or two in between gigs, and I'll get my life back in order. Pretty much I'll, because it's 12-hour days. You don't have time to do anything. So the day off is literally laundry, groceries, bills, and sleep. That's it. You don't do anything else. And then you're back on the grind. 12-hour days for 5-6 days a week sometimes.
But isn't that kind of addicting too? I find myself cringing at a regular schedule. I feel like I would get bored.
I had a short sting where I worked in a 9 to 5, I was a receptionist at some office. I hated it. I had a panic attack a month after. I was a month in and I had a panic attack. I was like, I hate doing this. I hate doing this 9 to 5, stuck in my little desk. I hate it.
Yeah. And funny enough, I had this gig and another opportunity working as an editor for a comedian podcast company. But I would be a videographer / editor for this comedian high established podcast company.
You can say
in
what
LA,
it is.
Starburns Industries. And I was in the 3rd rounds of interviews. Super, super steady job. Gave me health care, all the benefits you can think of.
Was it the Tim and Eric? Which one was it?
The Starburns Industries. It's the Dan Harmon's company.
Dan Harmon. Oh, okay.
I ended up when I got I was set for that, and when Mike called me up to do this gig, I was conflicted because I wanted this life. I don't know why I want to do 12 hours, work myself to the bone. I was just so eager. I mean, at that time, I was doing like a little bit of PA work here or there and just not getting anything like week to week. So something consistent was like, okay, I got to pay the bills. But like I instantly gave Starburns Industries an email once I got this gig that we're all working on. And I was so confused after I sent that email saying like, hey, thanks, but no thanks. I found something else. I was like, what am I doing? Like I found something, like I should have realistically said, I found something else for 2 months and then I'm unemployed.
Yeah. I had the same thing. I could have done like a full year one. I actually got also an email right at the beginning of this job. You can work, from home at this animation thing. Would have been perfect. But no.
What's wrong with us?
I
feel like to do this job you have to be a workaholic and you have to be a little bit crazy. And you have to really love this job, because I've met so many people who like want to PA and they'll PA for like 1 or 2 days and they'll be like, oh my God, this is awful. What do you mean you do this for like the rest of your life? And I'm like,
damage me.
I happily do this.
I want to go into a little bit about your writing experience. You are now, I forgot how many books, but you're a novelist. You've been writing the sci-fis.
Ooh.
What gets you into that? Why do you keep doing it?
Oh my God. Okay, I've been writing since like middle school. I wasn't a big reader because reading was for nerds or whatever. So I wasn't a big reader, and then I like fell in love with reading in like 6th, 7th grade, and then I was like, I could do this. So I just started writing. And I've been writing like little like novels, like small 20,000, 30,000 words, nothing crazy. I started writing that, and I've written those, and now I'm working on like my first big book that I am hoping to actually sell to like a big publisher. And I have like other ones planned already for after that. Hayden and I have been discussing it. I've been like telling Hayden all my ideas.
I've been giving notes.
No, Hayden.
Hayden's been giving me notes on my aliens and stuff. Yeah, it's great.
The set dressing they should have these pillows.
So let me tell you about the building structure could be better.
I would just also like to highlight that Hayden said pillows.
Pillows.
That's wrong, Hayden. Guys. That's wrong.
Everyone likes to give me shit for that. I will never stop saying pillows.
I'm not telling you to stop. I'm just want to make sure you know.
Okay, what did I say though?
You said pillows.
Exactly.
That's wrong.
But I communicated and you understood what I said. We'll get to this later. Talk a little.
All right.
Could you talk a little bit about the book you're making now?
Oh God, I mean, I can't get too many details because it'll obviously I'll be contracted and like I have to like keep things under wraps until it gets published. A little synopsis I could give: it's a fantasy romance based in present time. It has gay characters, and it has to do with like Greek gods. And that's it. That's all I could really say.
What about your other books? Have you self-published those, or are you just did those for practice for yourself?
I have them done. I have been thinking about like self-publishing them because they're just kind of like sitting on my shelf. I'm like, oh my gosh. But I have like 2 little short stories finished. One's about gay vampires, and then the other one's about like a group of like 4 teenagers who gotta like save the world or something. Yeah, I wrote them in like middle school.
Are you telling me you wrote Gay Twilight?
I wrote Gay Twilight. It's a lot better. I'll tell. Listen.
You just wanted the soundbite.
I don't wanna toot my own horn, but it is better.
I don't think we've actually touched this in the podcast, but I'd love to. You're a woman of color in film. Mm-hmm. I would love to kind of get into detail of that experience that you've had with all this intersectionality in this industry, and speak for all women and all people of color.
Yeah. Let me just hold on.
You have 30 seconds.
Go. You have 30 seconds.
Put me on the stand. Let me represent all my people out there.
Yeah.
Being a script supervisor as a woman is not hard because the script supervisor position has always been a woman since the beginning of time, because it was the closest thing that women always had to becoming, because we weren't allowed to be directors. It was the closest position that we could get to being a director. So script supervisor has always been a woman. So it wasn't difficult for me to get into it being a woman. So I've never had a problem with it. But there are definitely things that like in the industry where people will kind of question you a bit more because you're a woman. Especially like if they want you to do more like heavy duty type of gigs, they'll kind of look over you, being like, "Oh, you can't really do that." And I'm like, I could lift 20 pounds. I could do it, no problem. I could drive a truck. That's fine.
That's why I make you do all the lifting. As I go and make myself a coffee.
As you do receipts. Right?
Receipts, yeah.
Hayden does receipts. He's a twig. He can't lift anything.
Twig. I'm a stick.
A firm stick with bark. With bark.
With bark.
And then being Latina I have yet to experience like any type of like anything to like push me back from working in the industry as a Latina. I've actually gotten like there's some jobs where I'll be the scripty and there'll be actors that are also Latino, and when they know that I'm Latina, we'll start talking in Spanish and they love it, which gets me pointers because if the cast likes me, then the director will love me. So
I have 2 quick questions. Number 1, what's your favorite color? No, I'm just kidding. So I love hearing people's really crazy set stories, like something going terribly wrong, somebody almost dying, or just a terrible experience, or something crazy, something funny. Do you have one for us?
oh man, a crazy sad story. Ugh. Let's see. I can have like a somewhat. It's not a crazy story, but it was an interesting story. I was working on American Idol. This was last year, I think. I was the assistant for like one of like the higher up executive producers for American Idol. This woman gets paid so much money, so much money. And she had recently had like, I think it was like neck surgery. I don't know what it was. She had some type of surgery, and she was like, I need a very specific pillow to sleep at night because I can't sleep at night without the specific pillow. And I'm like, okay, what pillow is it? And I don't remember what the pillow was, but it's very specific brand and pillow. I had to drive through like 3 different Bed Bath & Beyond all over like the city of Austin to find this pillow, like minutes before they closed, because she demanded to have this pillow that night. And she's like, you better find me this pillow. And I'm like, I will try to find you this pillow. And I ran everywhere. And I found one, they didn't have any pillows on the floor, and I found like this employee. I'm like, listen, my boss really wants this pillow because she can't sleep at night, and she just really wants this pillow. I just need to get this pillow so I don't get fired. And she's like, I feel that. Let me go look in the back. And she went in the back. She brought me the last one. I was like, you are an angel sent from heaven. Thank you. And my job got saved. I gave her the pillow, and she didn't even look at me. She didn't even tell me thank you. Nothing. Man. She was talking on the phone, and she sent me out, and I'm like,
that's always the story, isn't it?
I have the same story with salad.
Mm-hmm.
And then my other one is the time capsule question. If you had a message for yourself in 10 years, you can say it now, and then it'll be recorded for you to discover again.
God, to future me, don't fuck up the Marvel movie. That's it. That's my one message for myself.
I like that. You have like a little bit of a manifestation baked in there. That's good.
For like, I don't think it's gonna happen because I definitely do not have like the union days to get into it. My big goal for like a very short while was that I wanted to be the script supervisor for the next Captain America. That was like my very big goal, that I really wanted to be the script supervisor. But I think they're filming like next year, the year after, and I do not have like the days to get into the union to then get into that movie. So it's not gonna happen. But it was like my very big goal that I really wanted to do that movie specifically.
Well, we appreciate you being on, Luci. Is there any kind of final thoughts or anything you want the listeners to take away?
If you're not a crazy person, don't do this job. But if you are a crazy person, you'll love this job.
Beautiful.
Couldn't have asked for anything better.
Thanks a ton for being on the show. We're pretty much wrapped out. we'll tune in next time on what do we call this again? Haven't
Podcast? Haven't made it yet?
Haven't made it yet. Thank you, Lucy. So Lucy,
Uh-huh.
we are now fading out into the great void of this outro.
Of 80s songs, yeah.
Is it really?
Wherever they go. I don't know. Whenever that era was when all songs faded. I don't know era, so I just say 80s for everything.
We're fading out right now in our outro, and I would love to fade out knowing what your favorite film is.
Favorite film?
And why? You gotta answer quick because we're fading.
We're actually faded out. All right.
We're fading. I can fade back in.
We'll fade back in. Fade back in.
My favorites at the moment, it's like the only one that's really coming to mind right now. Probably be The Shape of Water or Hellboy. I'm thinking Guillermo del Toro right now.
Oh, you love the
big
Guillermo.
fan. Big Guillermo. Any shout outs? Any shout outs, Lucy? Who do you want to shout out?
Who do you want to shout out? You got 5 seconds.
Yeah, shout out.
I want to shout out to my little brother. He's a voice actor.